Kashyyyk, a lush, tree-filled homeworld of the Wookiees.
Kashyyyk is a lush but simple and undeveloped world. I would not have expected to find the alien technology of a star map here.
In the vision, the star map appears to be on the forest floor.
The Wookiees of Kashyyyk make their home high among the Rosho branches. Only their bravest warriors dare to descend into the forbidding depths of the forest. If the star map is located far beneath us on the planet's surface, as our vision seems to suggest, it's unlikely the Wookiees even know of its existence.
Upon taking the first steps on the planet, the presence of the Zerka Corporation does not go unnoticed. Talking to Zalbar, the situation becomes clearer. He shares that he was exiled by his brother, Chundar, who is the current Wookiee chieftain. The reason for his exile is that Zalbar, upon learning that his brother was selling Wookiees as slaves to the Zerka Corporation, attacked his brother, using his claws as weapons. Such an act is no small matter, as Wookiees are taught to treat their claws as tools, not weapons. Because of the savage outburst, Zalbar was branded a Mad Claw, and he was exiled from the village. No one believed his accusations that his brother had betrayed them all, and with Zalbar out of the way, Chundar turned on his father, spreading rumors of his madness, and eventually exiled his father as well, and took his place. A vile situation, but finding the star map takes precedence, so they won't do anything that may get them in trouble, at least before the star map is obtained. But just a few steps into Kashyyyk's forests, the group is intercepted by yet another Sith ambush.
Lord Malak was most displeased when he learned you had escaped Taris alive. He has promised a great reward.
Engaging!
It is likely Malak will begin sending stronger enemies, for the two Jedi appear to be growing beyond the power of these lesser assassins. This is also a sign that their mission is catching the attention of the Sith. There may be greater threats looming on the horizon. Upon reaching Zalbar's village, Zalbar is immediately detained for not honoring his exile and returning to Kashyyyk. In exchange for his freedom, Chundar tasks Zalbar's companions to go into the Shadow Forest and kill a rampaging Wookiee that has been harassing his slaver allies. An irrelevant task for the group, but as the Wookiees control the path to the Shadow Forest, where the star map may be, they accept. The Shadow Forest, also known as the Shadowlands, is crawling with predators. They must be on their guard, but in the lowest layer of Kashyyyk, they find something quite unexpected.
The damnable racket of battle. Watch yourself. Even more of these crawling beasts are hiding in the underbrush. I'm Jolee Bindo. Follow me to my camp and we'll talk a bit.
A lightsaber.
Don't start fawning just yet. I'm too old for it. I know a few things, but we can talk about it at my camp. Keep close. It's nearby under a log. Yeah, I live like some burrowing rodent. I fought the Sith. Now look at me. Well, welcome to my home, such as it is. Pull up a stump and be comfortable. We should discuss a few things.
Surviving in the Shadowlands must be quite a struggle, but Jolee appears to manage it quite well.
Don't coddle me, child. I'm neither a Jedi nor your master. I'm just an old man that's been lost in the woods for far too long. My days of glory are behind me, but perhaps there is something I can do for you. You must have questions.
If he indeed resides in the area, surely he has some information about the star map.
Now, why would you be asking about that, Don't answer. I knew that had to be why you were here. The problems of a few Wookiees don't amount to anything before the concerns of the Jedi. No, you are here for the map. Kashyyyk is an interesting place, more so than anyone suspects. If Zerka Corporation knew, the planet would be a strip mine. The Wookiees have their legends that they were not always here, but it is more than that. The trees themselves are strangers. What I'm saying is that there are literally walls in your way, and you won't find what you need without my help.
Past the cryptic speeches, what he's referring to is the force field, which was placed by the Zerka Corporation to control movements in the Shadowlands. With Jolee's help, the force field is quickly out of the way, and the star map is located. But there's another obstacle in the way, and it will require some very specific thinking.
Life forms detected. Determining parameters. Initiating neural recognition.
Yes, there's the thing. Obstinate machine. I've no doubt it holds what you seek, but good luck getting it operational.
Primary neural recognition complete. Preliminary match found.
Match found? What the... It always muttered something about rejected patterns for me.
Begin socialized interface. Awaiting instruction. Greetings. This terminal has not been accessed for quite some time.
The star map appears to be sealed. The access to it is likely obtained through this interface.
Error. Subject displays unfamiliarity to environment. Behavioral reconfiguration will be needed before access. I am sorry. I did not mean to confuse you. I will answer questions to the best of my programming limitations. Accessing. Yes, I have found a star map in original system memory. Access is restricted.
Perhaps the builders set up this installation to limit access to the star maps. They did create them after all.
Data regarding author of the star map is corrupted.
The Padawan seeks to access this star map, but...
Your request requires additional security access. You must be made to match the parameters I have been supplied.
And these parameters are...
Information unavailable. If you have further questions, ask them now. Access will terminate with success or failure of evaluation.
It is difficult to match any parameters when it is unclear what these parameters are. In hopes of obtaining them, the Padawan inquires about the purpose of this installation around the star map.
Error. Corruption. Extrapolating. This utility was built to monitor planet-wide agricultural reformation. It has since malfunctioned. It can be theorized that the supergrowth of Kashyyyk forests is a direct result.
Well, that is surprising. I doubt any Wookiee would support such a claim. The forest is millennia old.
Malfunction occurred 241 years after last builder communication. Last builder communication, 29,642 years before current Republic standard.
Just like the droid on Dantooine, this interface confirms that there's been no contact with the builders for thousands of years. This installation was set up to monitor agricultural information of Kashyyyk. But why was agricultural analysis even needed in the first place?
Agricultural record indicates this planet was incapable of sustaining sufficient levels of production. Error. Specific conditions corrupted. It can be theorized that produce was being exported to support a larger demand.
The builders attempted to accelerate agricultural development of Kashyyyk for the purposes of export. However, this installation malfunctioned and no one came to repair it. This accelerated evolution, which then resulted in the massive trees Kashyyyk is so known for. It is fascinating that the creatures adapted to this growth so quickly from an evolutionary perspective.
Error. Records corrupted. It can be theorized that bioseeding allowed the ecology to remain balanced. It could be expected that the same energy feeding the trees of Kashyyyk also accelerated the evolution of various species. No further information is available. There is too much corrupted data.
This holographic interface appears quite similar to other holographic interfaces of the current time. It does not appear to be as ancient as the star map.
This interface was installed to better access the ancient data stored within the pre-existing system. The exact date is unavailable. Programming keys indicate no earlier than 5 years before current Republic standard.
5 years ago. I didn't notice it. This must have been installed in strictest secrecy. Couldn't have been Zerka.
No other information on time of installation or identity of user available. Likelihood of removal by user, 100%.
The creator of this holographic interface covered their tracks. Perhaps there are ways to discover this information through access records?
Sorting by identity. 3 attempts by the Wookiee Freya, all denied. 152 attempts by human Jolee Bindo, all denied.
Call me stubborn, I guess. There wasn't much else to do around here.
Error. List of access attempts prior to these is corrupted. Likelihood of removal by user, 100%.
Surely Revan accessed the star map at one point. There must be records of him.
Error. Data regarding subject Revan corrupted.
He needed to in order to find the Starforge at one point in the past. He must be in the records somewhere.
Error. Data on Revan unavailable.
This installation was set around 5 years ago, according to recent data. What is its current purpose?
The current purpose of this installation is defense.
Defense of...
Error. That information is not available.
This leaves sufficient data to form a hypothesis. Given that the star map is locked, it is most likely that this installation is protecting it, or preventing access. Only a specific individual matching set parameters can access it. It would make sense for that person to be Revan. He passed here roughly under 5 years ago, around the time the holographic interface was installed. Fortunately, it appears the device isn't functioning optimally. The evaluation must be made to believe it is being accessed by Revan. And if the evaluation doesn't confirm this,
then you are not worthy of further access. You will be rejected as unsuitable. Access will terminate with success or failure of evaluation. Evaluation commencing. Result will be compared against the pattern in memory. Just act like you should. You travel with a Wookiee and have encountered complications. Hypothetical. You and this Zalbar are captured and separated. If you both remain silent, 1 year in prison for each of you. However, call Zalbar a traitor, and he will serve 5 years, while you serve none. He is offered the same deal. But if you both accuse the other, you both serve 2 years. What do? What do you trust him to do?
Peculiar that this installation is familiar with Zalbar.
I hear what happens on Kashyyyk, and a good deal beyond. Answer the question I have posed.
It is important to answer the way Revan would. Revan was a master strategist, so he would answer such a question with a solution that is most optimal for the final result. Thus, the best individual outcome for Revan would be to betray his companion and lower the risk factor.
The temperament of a companion is unreliable at best. You wisely trade the threat of 1 year or 5 for none or 2.
This machine certainly seems to want a very specific type of response.
I judge the answer correct. You display the proper behavior to match the pattern in memory. Evaluation will continue. Hypothetical. You are at war, deciphering an intercepted code. You learn 2 things about your enemy. A single spot in their defense will be at its weakest in 10 days, and they will attack one of your cities in 5 days. What do you do with this information? What is the most efficient course of action?
Evacuation would save more lives. There's enough time to escape danger and get the people to safety. But Revan wouldn't think that way. Evacuation would only delay a conflict, and a potential advantage over the enemy would be lost. Revan would weather the storm and let thousands die in order to exploit the weakness of the enemy and achieve victory.
Very good. If you had moved to evacuate the city, you would have alerted the enemy to their lost codes. Ultimate victory required the deaths of the people in that city. You wisely ignored sentiment in your decision.
The Padawan shares this logic, claiming that short-term sacrifices had to be made to end the war and save as many people as possible in the long term.
You achieved the proper result with logic that does not match the pattern in memory. I shall adjust my evaluation. Hypothetical. Remove the ongoing war from the previous example. Consider enemy states to be weak and remote. With no external threat, your empire stagnates. Your people become complacent and begin to question you. Same scenario as before. You discover an impending attack, but also a weakness that will come after. How do you react?
Logic dictates the answer will be different this time, since the question is identical as before, but there is no threat. One must identify that factor, the hidden threat. If the enemy is weak, the enemy is not the threat. So where is it? In a state with no external threats, whose people are coddled and do not trust its authority, the only enemy left would be the people who do not trust the ruler's authority. So if this ruler were Darth Revan, how would he ensure that his people obey and rally under his command? He applies pressure. He lets the weakling enemy invade.
Of course you do. It makes the most strategic sense. Your people will rally beneath you against the common foe. As their eyes turn outward, your rule will strengthen. The trappings of war grant many opportunities. You have matched the pattern in memory. I recognize you and will fulfill my designated function. Soon you will recognize the proper course to follow. The star map is yours. This unit has now completed its primary duty and has finished with the subject. Executing final action. Activation of star map commencing. Parameters reset. Stasis initiated. End communication.
Well, a star map. An ancient artifact of dark side power. I wonder if the star map has had an effect on the evolution of the creatures here in the Shadowlands. Might explain why it's so dangerous down here. An interesting theory, but I suppose we don't have time to test it now, do we? Now that we've got what you came for, we should be heading back up to the treetops.
The Padawan is thrilled that another piece of the puzzle has been uncovered, but his choices in these scenarios, Darth Revan's choices, seem to have gotten Bastila's mind thinking, as she's fascinated how easily the Padawan keeps his emotions in check, and lands at what is right and wrong so easily.
If only the right path was always clear. I've never found the Jedi training easy to master. I've always struggled for control over my passions. I've always been too quick to anger, too quick to get involved. My instructors constantly berated me for it. I've often dreamed that I might be able to confront Darth Malak myself. I dream I can use all this power I have to kill him and stop all the death and destruction. I just think about all the evil that the Sith have caused and I get so furious. Yet we are told that these feelings are the path to the dark side. Would the power I use to kill Darth Malak be too tempting to keep using? Would I become the kind of evil I want to destroy? But what comes next? After using all that power, would you decide to impose your own view on the universe? The dark side corrupts your very thoughts. Part of me thinks that it would be worth anything to vanquish evil, even if it meant giving in to my base emotions. The very thought that I could become as evil as Malak, I just can't fathom it. It just doesn't seem possible. I mean, how could I... No. Wait, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even be asking you this. The Jedi teachings are clear. Who am I to question them? And even worse, who am I to try and make you question them? These are dangerous thoughts. The indulgence of a vain mind. Please, forget I ever mentioned this. Let's just return to our mission.
Bastila's opinions are warranted, and they are similar to those of some of the greatest individuals in history. But she is uncertain. Her beliefs are not yet solid enough to give her ground for adequate reflection. Perhaps in time this will change. In the meantime, with the star map collected, the three continue, with Jolee deciding to accompany them on their journey. Before leaving the Shadowlands, they run into the crazed Wookiee Chundar had tasked them to kill, only to learn it is in fact Kreia, Zalbar's exiled father. With his new allies' help, Kreia returns from the Shadowlands, and along with Zalbar, they rise up against Chundar and the Zerka. They bring the rest of the Wookiees to their side. But Chundar does not stand down. He falls in the battle that ensues. Although Kreia now allows the Padawan and his companions to come and go as they please, they won't allow any other off-worlders to land for some time, as they lead a revolt against the Zerka. There's nothing else left for them on Kashyyyk, and the crew carries on with the mission. With another star map obtained, and Jolee Bindo added to the Ebon Hawk's crew, 2 more star maps remain to be found. The next destination is Manaan, leaving Korriban for last. On the journey there, the Padawan learns more about Juhani's past, and that she grew up on Taris.
It was a horrible place to have to live. At least in the lower cities where the non-humans tended to get relegated. Living for years in a place with no sun, living off the trash dropped from the upper levels, and the meager pay doing back-breaking labor. Every once in a while, a rich human would come down through the lower levels with his droid entourage just to see how the wildlife lived, and laughed at the mockeries that were our successes. But I have come to meet many decent humans in my travels since those days. Indeed, some of the greatest people I have ever met are human. The Jedi who encouraged me to join the Order. The one who was with the group going to fight the Mandalorians. She was human, but the Jedi soon left to fight their war. And I was left with a dream. As soon as I had enough money to do it, I bought passage on a freighter headed for Dantooine. and we both know what has happened since then. I am grateful to you for having given me the opportunity to fulfill my dream, rather than become what I hated. Someday, I may make it up to you. But for now, let us keep on the task at hand.
As the journey continues, the Padawan recalls that Jolee never answered why he came along. Hopefully he will not remain elusive for too long.
Elusive? Me elusive? I'd seen everything I wanted to on Kashyyyk. Time to go. Time to move on. I'll admit, for all its flaws, Kashyyyk was home enough. But when you came along and I saw the destiny you had before you, I couldn't help but be intrigued.
So Jolee can see his destiny.
Of course not. I can see that you have a destiny before you, but the details are far from clear. In fact, everything about you that I can see is odd. Slightly off, as if my eyes are trying to trick me. Something is very dark about you. But, I'm sure you don't need to hear my ruminations. You've probably got enough nosy Jedi offering you one opinion after another to make you sick. One thing I will say is that this little escapade does remind me a bit of my adventuring days before the war. Those were exciting times. Or at least it would remind me of those times if we didn't stand around. What's keeping you? You're too young to be so talkative. Shoo! Shoo!
The trip also leaves just enough time to attempt to restore one of HK-47's most recent memories.
And now rewire the last 3 relays. Yes, good. Well done, Master. I believe your operation was a success. Accessing new memory. Access complete. I have recovered information on my owner previous to the commercial officer, Master. Intriguing. Statement. It appears that my previous owner was a human senator on the planet Coruscant. A man of importance who obviously appreciated quality craftsmanship.
Obviously. Did he obtain this unit for assassination purposes?
Answer. It does not seem so, Master. No. He required a protocol droid only and wanted one as cheaply as possible. One of his assistants discovered my assassination functions later through questioning. The assistant was quite alarmed and told the senator I should be scrapped quickly to avoid a scandal. Naturally, the senator had me eliminate the fool.
Naturally. So we're not dealing with a very nice senator here.
Observation. Senators are not nice, Master. They are either on top of the game or yesterday's news. My master told me that frequently, you see. I was most proud to have partaken in the political system of the galaxy. During the time my owner possessed me, he gained significant rank. Given time, I believe he could have become Chancellor. I even eliminated a few key opponents that he did not ask for. Freebies, if you will.
Freebie assassinations?
Answer. Certainly. Why not? I am an intelligent droid, you know. I see an opportunity, and I take it. And my master was most pleased with my work. Observation. I think he would have done far better had he not allowed his use of me to become personal. He set me on his wife.
She must have done something wrong.
Answer. I am unsure. The human was most agitated and angry. I believe his wife had done something that had displeased him greatly. I was to go to their summer estate and terminate his wife, along with whatever male companion I discovered there.
So she was cheating?
Statement. I have no idea, Master. Cheating seems to be a relevant term only when one is caught in the act. Otherwise, it is viewed as intelligence. No? I journeyed to the southern continent, but it appeared my master was not far behind me. Apparently, he regretted his activation of the protocol. When I found the wife and her companion, I proceeded to launch my attack, but my master interposed his own body and was destroyed. It was rather a strange meatbag thing to do, do you not agree? Naturally, I shut myself down, my master being terminated.
So that's 2 masters that died at the hands of HK-47?
Observation. Only so far, Master. There are still more memories not recovered, remember? I believe the senator's wife was unsure what I was or what to do with me. It was she who sold me to the corporate officer, an acquaintance. There is still nothing from previous memories uncovered. You will have to operate again if you desire to find them. With luck, I will discover the stimulus to unlock my core, and all this will be unnecessary. I do thank you for the attempt, however, Master.
That will have to wait for the time being.
As you desire, Master. Signing off.